All right, all right. Welcome back to Eyes Open Media. Okay, so been an interesting day. We did the report extra. I'm about to say report extra. We did the report early today, and then we right after the report with the telephone call from Donald Trump last night, early morning Baghdad. The United Nations General Security Security Council or the Secretary of the United Nations Council comes in, lands in Iraq, and a body tells them to remove Chapter 7, from Iraq and remove the restrictions. And of course, they respond back like, yeah, it's coming, but we need Mosul. Give us Mosul, complete Mosul, and we'll launch. We'll remove Chapter 7 with the launching of the National Reconciliation in Mosul, because the National Reconciliation has already launched in many provinces, all of the provinces actually, except for Mosul. So it's going to coincide, the Chapter 7 lifting and removing of all restrictions will coincide with the National Reconciliation once you give us Mosul. So everything we talked about back in December and January is what we were told today by the UN and a body. More confirmation on that. That Chapter 7 will be removed right after you give me Mosul. Nothing has changed. And we'll also launch the National Reconciliation in Mosul once you give us Mosul. And the body said a couple of days ago that Mosul will be about another week or two. So, 7% of ISIS territories in Western Mosul, that's nothing. So we should be able to get rid of that in a heartbeat here in the next 14 days, 15 days. That should go to zero, right? And we've launched the battle in Tel Har finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of waiting. The battle in Tel Har has launched, and we're already taking back areas now because there's nothing to take back. We bombed the crap out of Tel Har, and so we're just walking the area, and we're just going to announce liberations of different districts because there's nothing to take back. Okay. And the reason why I started with all that is because I wanted to give you guys time to read this, what Vincent has said here before I started to talk about it. Okay, so it says Iraq government is required to implement the decision of the House of Representatives urgently pay the Kurdistan region. Okay, United Nations and a body. Now remember, the United Nations also just landed in Kurdistan region, and this comes out. So when they land in Kurdistan region, they talk to the Kurds about what's going on. It says the Iraqi government is required to implement the decisions of the House of Representatives urgently and pay the Kurds. Why do you think the Kurds are in Kirkuk? They're not being paid. So they figure, if we're not being paid, let's just send the mighty Peshmerga forces up to Kirkuk and secure that area, that oil field, and raise our flag over it. Yeah, that might start getting us some pay, because now we own that oil and we'll be able to use it for our government and our citizens that that are suffering only because the hands of Baghdad refuses to give us our payments, even though we're pumping the oil. Yeah. And who's going to mess with the Peshmerga forces? Are you going to call the PMUs on us? Are you going to call the Iraqi forces on us? No, not gonna. Don't think so, right? And that's why I said, if this thing gets out of hand, they're going to have to call the American forces. That because the international coalition forces will have to deal with the Peshmergas in that area, but they will do it through referendums and reforms. They're not going to do it through fighting. We're not going to fight the Peshmerga forces. But you need the bigger dogs to come in. You can't. The Peshmerga forces are really elite forces. and they will wipe out the Iraqi forces, and the popular crowd and everybody else. They're above those type of people, those forces. So you'll need the American forces and the international coalition forces to deal with the Persian Gulf if that had to be. If it had to come to that level, but at the same time, it doesn't have to come to that level. You start paying these people their money. They're pumping the oil and they're not getting any money. Okay, and the money's not going to the citizens or anybody. So they wanted to force the HCL oil and gas law into effect, which is I already said you can't do that. Okay, you can't do that without the permission of the prime minister, and the prime minister has not given them permission publicly uh, to enforce the oil and gas law, because I thought it was about to go into parliament here soon. So they haven't even voted on the the herbal agreement oil and gas law. Okay, so the full oil and gas law is supposed to be in parliament sometime in April, I believe. I think somebody said April 2nd, April 4th. So next week the oil and gas law is expected to be in parliament. I think this one is going to be the full oil and gas law that deals with Article 1, deals with the HCL oil and gas, deals with Article 140 and everything else. Everything that the oil and gas law, all the territories, everything that has to deal with the full oil and gas law is supposed to be in Parliament next week. So we'll see. And before they implement it, they need to be in a free market economy. So they're not gonna implement and activate a full oil and gas law with a program rate. It's just not gonna happen. It doesn't make any sense to do anything like that. That's why they haven't done it. Okay, so the House of Representatives voted today obliges government to pay dues of farmers, Kurdistan region, like other provinces. Okay, yeah, and you see, Iraq is now paying their own bills. It's no longer America paying their bills or anybody. Iraq is now having to pay their own bills, and they're realizing that this is a lot harder than it looks. You gotta now pay your own bills, and you can't rely on loans and stuff any longer, because the loans are going to the liberated areas that need the rebuilt. They're not going to the GUI. It's not going to the government of Iraq. It's going to the liberated areas. So Iraq's like, we need to find a way to earn money. And, oil revenues is just not working for us right now, because oil is not high enough. Oil needs to get into the 70s and the 80s, which I believe it will. I think it will skyrocket here in the summertime. I think we're going to touch the 60s and 70s, maybe even 80s in the summer and fall. Okay. Let's see here. Vincent says at currency 365, Parliament votes today to oblige Iraq government to pay Kurdistan dues urgently. Isn't that interesting that the Secretary of the United Nations comes down and, oh my goodness, we now have to we need to pay the Kurdistans. as soon as he leaves the country, they're gonna be like, we ain't paying you nothing. This is how they always are, man. They talk tough when John Kerry and the United Nations and the IMF and the World Bank and Trump and are not on the phone or in their presence. As soon as they leave, they be talking again. Okay, so Iraqi Day here has important Iraqi Air Force preparing to drop millions of leaflets. I mean, how much litter can you drop in a country? This is not a big country, by the way. They've dropped about, I'll say, 30 million leaflets in the last 6 months. I mean, like, who's picking all this up? Like, who's picking this trash up? Okay, anyways. Iraqi Air Force is preparing to drop millions of leaflets over ISIS controlled areas in West Mosul with instructions for civilians. Now, if they're controlled areas by ISIS, don't you think ISIS is going to read the leaflets and see what the instructions are for the civilians? Jesus Christ. Oh man, that makes no sense. How about bomb the whole area, like Anthony told us? Just bomb the whole place, and then we'll think about it in a couple of weeks and see how everybody and see who survived and then start the reconstruction. I mean, goodness gracious. Okay, so we got the map update today, and no surprise, nothing has changed. Well, a little bit up here. We got some movement up here. We have some movement. Okay, so this is green down up here. So okay, well this is nothing really moved up in this area, but this is starting to move, and this is still fighting area. I don't know why this was full green a couple of days ago. Now it's fighting areas, and this refuses to move at all. This refuses to move. Okay, so moving on from there, this was the breaking news video I did. Shout out to me. I'm just playing. And that was calling for a body calls during the meeting with the Secretary of the United Nations to remove Iraq from Chapter 7. Remove us and let our people go. It's not like Moses and Pharaoh, let my people go. That's basically what the body's saying. Let my people go from these sanctions. Okay. Let me see here. April coming money. Okay, Muhammad. I don't know if did you translate that incorrectly, Muhammad? April coming money. That don't even make sense. Eric says Al Jafar. It should be Al Jafari, right? With two. I don't even know how to spell his name. What am I talking about? Anyway, Al Jafari, which is the foreign minister of Iraq, said yesterday at the Arab Summit that Iraq is now in the United Nations, which is not really true, right? They're not in the no one's in the United Nations, right? But they could be partners with the United Nations, which we've already seen all the agreements they've signed with the United Nations. Remember, the United Nations is going to be funding their economic reforms as well. So yeah, they're partners with them. It says the United Nations delegations attended the Arab Summit. Now we see the news today. Put a fork in it. Wow. The Bitcoin fork. And now we got this fork. Interesting. Let me see what other people say. I don't think Iraq can be lifted out of sanctions without removing the restrictions from their currency. Yeah. That all is going to go together. It's all going to go together, guys. Don't worry about it. Kirsten's economic outlook for 2017 promising. You know what, Red Star? Kirsten's outlook for, back in 2011 and 12 was unbelievable. Like they were exploding, they were booming. It's a Yazidi Christian area, and they were just booming. And guess what? Baghdad and the Maliki men were just very, very jealous. I'm like, wait a minute, why is your God blessing you? Well, that's because their God is the living God, and so they were getting blessed inside of the corruption and the destruction of Iraq. So Maliki said, wait a minute. I can stop their blessings by removing their oil, right? By not giving them that, or by telling the world I'm going to give them the herbal agreement, and then taking it back, and that will destroy their economy, and that's exactly what happened. and then they had to rely on Baghdad for them to to get their payments, and Baghdad never gives them their payments on time, or only gives them a few payments, a little bit of payments, and that's because Baghdad was jealous of the Kurdistan region and how wealthy they were, and and a lot of the Barzani family took that money and they put it in offshore accounts. So Kurdistan region has money; it's just in offshore accounts. But lately they've been struggling because Baghdad refuses to pay. So they said, you know what, we have some great Peshmerga fighters here, and we're going to go to the Kirkuk and seize that oil. And you're not going to do anything about it because our troops are more superior than yours. So yeah, kind of interesting. If the Kurds wanted to, they could actually take half of Iraq with the Peshmerga forces, and what would happen is Iraq would beg America to stop them, and then we'll say, okay, Kurdistan region, you can have half, to keep that half, and then Iraq keeps the rest of half of the country. Anyways, but that's not gonna happen. Kurdistan will probably most likely go independent, right? And they'll probably break up in three: Sunni, Shiite area, Kurdistan area, in Sunni area. Maybe they'll stick together for a little bit. Who knows? Urgent international alliance, less than 1,000 Daesh still in Mosul. Okay, so now it's 1,000. When we started, it was like a 3,300. Then we got all the way down to like 500 left, and now they say, oh, gee, a little bit on the less than 1,000 left. I mean, we've killed about 60,000 of them. It seems like since Western Mosul began. It says, yep, planned out and played out to near perfection. Okay. And oh boy, United Nations secretary is in Erbil. Yep. Okay. Jabari having the United Nations Secretary General in his office. Okay. Infallible calls on the government to apply Article 140. Yep. Article 140 has been passed, but they need to apply. They need to act. I guess they need to activate it in that region. A lot of this stuff is old, guys and girls. They already know exactly what land, who's taking what land, and everything like that already. Let's see. Oh, I did post this about for those looking for Prophet Solomon's full book collection store in Amazon. Here it is, right here. Okay, and I did update the link in my description section of the videos as well. Well, I did for 365. I need to do it for Eyes Open Media videos as well. Okay, so everything else, I guess I'll talk about in the report extras. Anything else that comes up? One Bitcoin. Coinbase has it. One Bitcoin for 1,042. Ethereum is 5266. Now, I did listen to the WebBot report. I was going to do a video on its own about Ethereum, the WebBot, Bitcoin, and Ripple coin. I don't think I'm gonna do that because I got to get ready for the report extras in a couple hours. So I'm just gonna do it here. Okay, so the WebBot report said that Ripple coin and Ethereum are going to break out in April. And then it didn't say nothing about Ripple coin after that, because I think Ripple coin could probably go from where it's at now, 0.001. It could probably go up to maybe 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, maybe somewhere around there, and then people will sell the crap out of it, right? Ethereum is going to break out in April again. It's already broken out, but it's going to break out in April. Probably head to 100 in April, and then maybe even by the summertime, it's still going to be in breakout mode because they're going to be calling it. The WebBot says they're going to be calling it the next Bitcoin. They've already started to do that. A lot of people I see on YouTube are calling it the next Bitcoin. So what's going to happen is the WebBot says that into April, May, June, and July. Ethereum is going to just skyrocket. So I'm predicting right now that I'm thinking if they're talking about skyrocketing, then they mean that it's going to at least go maybe $200 to $500, just absolutely kill it, and they're going to call it the next Bitcoin, and then it's going to hit a massive sell-off. Okay, so that's what the WebBot is reporting, that Ethereum is going to break out, and Ripple coin are going to break out in April. And if you look at the coins here, let me refresh these coins. This is awesome because the WebBot report, and can make you a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, come on, we called Bitcoin. I didn't use the WebBot report to call Bitcoin, but I called Bitcoin at 589, and Bitcoin hit 1350. Who didn't make any money off of that? Who didn't make any money off of that? And then to make things even better, I called Ethereum at 750 for you guys. Before anybody was even calling a buy signal on Ethereum, I called it at 750 for the whole entire community, right? For Eyes Open, 365, and everybody else. I even posted on my personal page, Ethereum buy signal at 750. And now it's at $52. I think I've received 3 thank yous. I mean, I swear, man. And you know what? I don't do it for thank yous, But my goodness, if we're people of God, you can't get no better than that, man. Come on, guys and girls. Like if somebody like who else are out here is calling these things like this, man? I'm not just talking about Iraq, man. I'm making you guys could be making some serious money, but you know what happens? A lot of you guys only are focused on Iraq that you miss out on these. I mean, this is so easy to do. Buying these things are so easy, especially Coinbase makes it really easy for you guys to buy these two coins. Now for Ripple Coin, they don't have Coinbase doesn't have Ripple Coin. You have to have another wallet, and you can always you can always go online and search for wallets. Okay, I think what's that wallet that Mike said cryptocurrency investing. Mike, you guys see on my personal page, on my main channel, excuse me, 365. I do post his videos, and he said that what is that Gate Hub? I think that's one I signed up to get the free Ripple coin. I think you get 30 Ripple coins for free. So I think it's Gate Hub, GATEHUB.com, Gate Hub. If you sign up for that, you can get 30 free Ripple coins, and then right now it's like 1 cent. Okay, so a Ripple coin is not 0.001, it's at 1 cent. Okay, so that's my bad. It's at 0.01. Okay, so it's 1 cent. It's 0.011458. It's up 16% today. Why? Because the Redbot report said that Ripple coin will explode in April, so people are buying. And also, this is down today, but this is also going to be Ethereum is also going to explode in April into the summer, and they're going to call it the next Bitcoin. Um, and for Bitcoin, is this going to be steady as it goes? As it moves away from the fork that looks like the hard fork that looks like it's not going to happen any longer. Now that could still happen, but right now the hard fork is not going to happen for Bitcoin. And then of course June 1st we have Bitcoin Classic that's going to be giving some free coins as well for those who own Bitcoin Core. So maybe by June Bitcoin will be around 2,000. Maybe it can start going. Maybe it can. People are gonna get excited and buy some up so they can get some free Bitcoin Classic. And then this is if the hard fork doesn't come back around again. Like if the hard fork is dead, then Bitcoin should start to rise. If not, if the hard fork continues to stay in there, then it is what it is. Bitcoin will stay around this price, and only between 900 to 1300. Okay, and I heard a rumor that Coinbase is going to have Dash coin. I mean Dash, not Dash coin, because there's two. There is the Dash coin. There's Dash, and then there's something else. There's like three different types of Dash, so I don't want to mix them up. But Dash could be in Coinbase very soon. Okay. Anyways, I think that's it. So yeah, so Ethereum and Ripple are supposed to do some nice gains in April, and then Ethereum into the summer is supposed to do really well, and they're gonna call it the next Bitcoin, and then it's gonna see a massive sell-off. Okay, so I don't know. So that means that it could go from 52 where it's at right now all the way up to about 300. Maybe even 500, and then people are just gonna cash out, and it's gonna drop all the way back to about 70, maybe. You know what I mean? Something like that. That could be possible. And then guess what? At 70, that'll be a good time to reload. It'll be just like Bitcoin when Bitcoin went all the way up to 1100, and people became millionaires by cashing out. It came all the way down back to like what, 350, 400, and then it started to go back up. You know what I mean? And that's when you should have reloaded at that point. You can reload. Let's say you made $3 million off of Bitcoin at 1100. You take $1 million and you reload at 350, and then you let it go, and then you just do it again. And then what happened next? Bitcoin went to 1350. There you go. And then you take some of that money, you take another million, and you wait for Bitcoin to come down. Bitcoin came down to about 9 something. You might put like 100,000 at 900, and then you wait to see if that hard fork's going to go in. If the hard fork goes in, you go all in with 800,000 maybe at 700. Bitcoin, and guess what? You take it to 2,300. That's how you trade. Okay. So, anyways, I'm done rambling. Talk to you guys tonight for report extras. And yeah, man, been a great day so far. And Iraqi government pay the Kurdistan region, please, and activate Article 140, and also remove the restrictions. And let's go. Let's remove Chapter 7, like we talked about. Peace out, everybody. See you guys for report extras. Eyes open.